Hi, and welcome to Game Starter. First up, sorry for the delay, but we're now very ready for all of your questions and today's topic, which is marketing management. For this, we have a wonderful panel with us, but before we learn all about marketing tonight, as always, there are some updates from Gamecity Hamburg. First up, next week, we are going to open applications for our GamesLift Incubator program. It's a very special opportunity where you get 15,000 euros of financial support in addition to 1,000 euros of a coaching budget. But that's not all. From September to December, you get an intense phase of talks, workshops, and throughout the whole year of the incubator, you'll also get individual mentoring by experienced industry professionals. That's not all, actually. You will also later in the year visit an industry event with us. This year, the incubator, for example, is going to Malmö, Sweden for the Nordic Games Conference. And a very special opportunity. You actually don't have to be situated in Hamburg to join the GamesLift Incubator. You just have to relocate for September to December, so you can be there for all the talks and workshops. While you're here in Hamburg, you will also have the opportunity to go into an office space provided by Gamecity Hamburg, so you can also exchange experiences with the other teams. And also, a special bonus, you will have access to the GamesLift network throughout the entire incubator and afterwards to really make the most of this experience. If you don't want to apply for like the cat in the bag, we actually have a little preview for you. On May 8th at 2 p.m., Kesha Curran will provide some insights in a workshop that will also take place during the incubator program. It's basic market analysis for indies, and anyone who's interested in the workshop or in the incubator can sign up for this online workshop. Joining that workshop is a great idea if you want to apply also, because of course having an oversight for basic market analysis for indies will also help you with your application. And if you're actually based in Hamburg, then of course we would love to welcome you for our next Flinter Games meetup, which will take place on May 6th at 6 p.m. Once again at the space, and we are super happy to welcome Davina, who will give us an impulse talk on all the ins and outs of founding her own company. She has founded 2 companies in the tech and game space, and she will give us some insights on how she did that and also on some things that maybe didn't go according to plan, but she'll also let us know why she would do it all over again. That's it from Gamecity for the next couple of weeks. But right now, of course, you're at the Game Starter on marketing management. So here's a quick overview on what's waiting for you tonight. We are currently in the welcome and introduction part. Next up, we are taking a look at our panel, and then we're going to jump right into the discussion round. And we need your help for that, actually, because while my co-host Judith and I have prepared loads of questions, we always need more. So please feel free to write your questions into the chat at any time. Our third colleague center, who's with you in the chat, will relay them to us, and we will try to put them in the right place in the discussion round, intersperse them somewhere when the topic comes up. But if your question didn't come up until like 7 p.m. or a bit later, don't worry, we are just saving that for the Q&A round. So stick with us until the end at 7:30 p.m. to make the most of this evening. And now let's have a look at who's joining us on the expert side. We've got Xin. She is a marketing project manager at Evil Empire. And we've got Ines with us, who's a marketing community and social media manager at TinyRaw. And unfortunately, I have to break the news to you that Lisa is not joining us today. There was some mix-up, but we hope to maybe welcome her at another point at a different Gamecity event. And until then, we can't wait to hear more about the world of marketing from Ines and Xin. So let's dive right into it. All right. Lovely to see the two of you here. Thank you so much for joining. Now that I've just name dropped you, maybe you can introduce yourself a bit better. Ines, I would like to start off with you. Tell us a bit about you, the company you're working at. What are you working on right now, and how did you get into the industry?
Yeah. Hi, nice to be here. I'm Ines. I work at TinyRaw in Hamburg as as you said, marketing, social media, and community manager. Pretty long job description. That's just because I'm basically the only one in my department. at least in our company directly. We have a publisher we work together with, of course. But yeah, we are currently working on our project Loose Lagoon, which is going to come out this summer. It's a cozy seaplane delivery service adventure. Pretty long description, but there's also yeah, a lot to do in our game, we hope. And yeah, we are in the critical phase where we are finishing production and then hopefully getting the game out soon. I've been in the industry now for 6 years, I think. I started in 2019. Um, Actually, through a meetup back then. Back then I lived in Kiel and got to know my previous boss at a game dev meetup. And that's when I scored my first job as a working student for his company, Off the Beaten Track, it was called, a small indie developer team from Kiel. And yeah, I worked there until last year, or no, the year before, 2013. And since last year in March, I'm now at Tiny War.
Lovely. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And you wear a lot of hats, and I'm sure they will help you answer all of our questions today. Wonderful. Xin, how about you? Where are you at right now? How did you get there? And what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so hello everyone, I'm Xin. Nice to meet you. Um, where do I start? So my career in the game industry started when I was in China, and I was working in a PR agency for those big mobile game developers like Tencent, NetEase, MiHoYo, like Genshin Impact, something like that. And then I have worked in that agency for like 2 years, and I stopped, and I transferred my life to France now. I firstly started a bit in France, and I found my current job. So I'm now working at Evil Empire as the marketing project manager. And my first project in the studio is Dead Cells. I worked on the Chinese market for Dead Cells. And then I started to work on the Rock Prince of Persia, which is the second game of the studio. And because of the Rock Prince of Persia, the studio invented a showcase called the Triple I Initiative. So I also work on the Chinese market of the Triple I Initiative. And now we expand the business a bit. So now we are also working on helping some hit Chinese indie game on the expansion of their Western market. So I'm now working on a Chinese roguelike action game called Blaze Blue Entropy Effect. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah. So all in all, I've been in this industry probably for 7 years, because I started to work since 2018. But in the middle, I stopped. I paused for like 2 years for study. So maybe 5 years. Yeah, that's all. Sorry, it's a bit too long.
No, it's perfect length. Thank you so much. Also, I'm sure a lot of our viewers today have tuned in into the Triple I showcase, so I'm sure they're very happy to hear more about that today.
Right.
Wonderful. Now that the introduction's out of the way, I would like to pass the baton over to Judith, who will dive right into the really hard questions with you.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Judith. As Helen already said, this is my first time hosting a panel for Gamecity since I joined. So I'm very excited, kind of nervous, but looking forward to it and very excited to hear about your experiences. And we're gonna go right in, and we're gonna go in with a question that feels kind of like we're at university, but maybe you still have an answer for us. And that's, what's the difference between marketing and PR? Is there a difference? Do you feel there is a difference? Does your company make a difference? Xin, would you like to start?
Oh, sorry, because I unmuted my microphone. So I think, yeah, there's definitely a difference, because for me, I think PR is the very last step in the whole marketing thing, because marketing is not just about PR. Because, for example, in our studio, the marketing department has to be with the dev team at the very beginning of the whole lifespan of the development. For example, when they have an idea or when they have a prototype, the marketing team has to join with them to give suggestion on their prototype or on their idea based on the marketing insights. And then after that, during the whole development, because we know we have like the milestone in the development. So we play each milestone build and we give the suggestion again based on the marketing insights on the milestone build. And when the whole when the whole game is accomplished, now it's time to go to the market. And then we're talking about the marketing strategy, the PR strategy, the communication strategy, the pricing strategy, and etc. So there's a huge difference. But for the game starter, like new graduate, if you want to go into the marketing in the game industry, maybe a PR agency would be a good start for your career. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for kind of unraveling that, because I feel like for many of us, and especially if you're still young and a student, all these like words don't really make a sense yet. But yeah, Ines, is there anything you would like to add to that question?
Just that I'm also thankful for unraveling that for me. Because we don't really differentiate between that much. Maybe also because like I'm the only person, at least at our studio directly, like in my position. So there's like it doesn't make much sense to split this into the different areas. It's kind of all marketing for us. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
that
also
makes
didn't study that, so I'm not I don't have this super strict definition.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sin, you already touched on something that's quite interesting as well, and also in our question catalog, which is the question of which departments do you work very closely with? Because you already said that even when they start with an idea, with prototyping or whatever, that you're already involved. So maybe you can kind of tell us about that, like which departments do you work closely with, and at what point of the process do you join in?
Yeah, most time we do the internal communication in just marketing department, but we need to talk with devs a lot. And devs is really a hard bone, because the communication is a bit hard with them, because they become really protective with their baby, because every game, all the details in the game is their baby. So if when you say something, when you give them some suggestion, you have to be really, really careful. Don't hurt them, because at the same time, they are also artists. So sometimes they have like a very not fragile, sorry, I call it crystal heart, like, so you have to try to protect them. And yeah, that's the devs team. And we also work really quite closely with financial people in the company, because when you really do the marketing thing, there's always money to spend, and you have to talk with financial people. Yeah, I think that's pretty much two main departments that you are constantly communicating with. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ines, do you feel like your experience is similar to that or very different because it's a different sized company?
So I think I'm just very lucky because everything that could break the dev's heart is handled by our publisher. And so yeah, I can just work very positively with the team. And yeah, so the department I do work most closely with together is our publisher, because we have the dev to publisher connection, and everything marketing wise has to be agreed with them and us. But then in our own team, I guess it's the art department, because if you do the social media output, you sometimes just need assets from them. And for example, we are having a Kickstarter campaign right now, haha. And for that, for example, you need a lot of assets from the art team, so you work very closely together with them. And then with the devs, the programmers, I just sometimes need their help, for example, because I record scenes from the game myself. So maybe I need a specific cheat from them, so I don't have to play through the whole tutorial every time I want to record a scene or something. Yeah, and then of course, with our CEOs, just to talk about expectations. Yeah. But in our own team, probably the art team. Yeah, I love them very much.
Great. Having to play through the game is already an interesting
Sorry,
struggle.
I want to say I love my dev team very much too.
Shout out. Yeah, no, that's very, very sweet. We actually have our first question from the chat as well, and it just kind of fits in, so I'm gonna pull it up. Someone asked if you think that marketing management in the game industry is very different to any other industry. I don't know if you've worked in other industries or maybe you know people in other industries, but do you feel like there's a big difference or like certain parts that are different? Oh, Ines, maybe you can start this time.
I haven't worked in another industry for marketing, so I don't really know. I really don't. I mean, I think for me it would be super hard to be in another industry because I think it would be hard to not market what I'm most excited about, which for me is games. But like technically, I mean, I guess as I'm also doing social media, it might be start with having different platforms. So for example, I mean, there are the big platforms, of course, like Instagram and TikTok and X/Twitter or Blue Sky or whatever you're using on that front. I guess a lot of those are also used by companies in other industries. But then, for example, when it comes to games, you can have a big hit on Reddit. And I don't know if that is a thing, and if you're, I don't know, selling washing machines or something. Or for example, community management, we do that through Discord, and I think that's very common for game developers to do it through Discord and the Steam forums. And I don't know what classic industries use for community management, if they use anything for community management. So I guess, yeah, it's different, but I can't tell you how it looks on their side.
That's fair enough. Sin, is there anything you would like to add or any experiences you've made outside of game marketing?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Ines. Like the platform is really different. Because I think I used to read a report saying that like maybe above half of the players, they know they find their next game through YouTube. That's really different with the like consumer goods, right? And I think when you talk about game, like there's different sub industry in the gaming industry, like the mobile games is totally different with indie games, and the AAA games is totally different with indie games. So you can write a thesis based on this question, to be honest. And for me, I think the most difference is how you present your product. Like especially when we do the trailer or the key art for the games, we always say, oh, this trailer didn't show the hook of the game. So what's the hook? Like you don't say this thing when you do like real estate advertisement or shoes advertisement. What's the hook? So I think it's pretty different, but I can't. It's too. I have too much to say, so I can't really elaborate more on it here. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel like we're gonna unravel the details of it anyways. But yeah, we're gonna come to one of my favorite questions, which is just what does your typical workday look like? Is there such a thing as a typical workday? Just like routines. Do you work from home? Do you have an office? All of that. Yeah, maybe Shin, you can still start.
Okay. So I think it depends on every studios, because in our studios, the policy is you can work from home 2 days a week, but you have to apply for it in advance. And because I can't really focus when I'm at home, so I barely do work from home. I prefer to go to office and fix everything like as soon as possible. And because our work needs a lot of internal communication, so it's always good to stay at the office, because you can just talk with your colleagues like instantly when you have something wrong or when you have some problems. Yeah. And like typical work day. I don't know, like for example, when we did the Triple I initiative, I feel like my typical work days just checking mail, replying to the emails, and then or talking with the participants and the lineups. But when we don't stop doing the Triple I initiative, when we go back to the game, it's totally different. So I guess there's no such a thing called typical work day. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's also the fun in it, right? Ines, what does your typical workday look like if you have one?
First of all, we have an interesting office situation that people who know our company and are from Hamburg might know, because it was flooded 3 times. But we have another office space now, so we can finally go back. And I'm like 1 or 2 days per week in the office, and the other days I work from home. And the start is usually something like a community check-in. So to see, are there new comments on Discord, Steam, or under our social videos. Then I do actually join the stand-up for our project, which is nice. The nice thing of being in the dev company itself, because I get to know like what the status of the game is, what people are working on, which is sometimes interesting also just for inspiration on what I could do a post about, or people show what went wrong and it's funny, and we might be able to show it. And then yes, since I do the social media management also, it actually is like a lot of my time is spent producing content, usually videos, short form videos are the thing right now. And then it's a lot of planning, I guess. Like, what content do you want to show in the next weeks and months? A bit of checking in on your competition, even if it's friendly competition. But what kind of video and content are they doing? What can you steal from them, or just repost and do the same thing? And also, just have a look at what events are coming up. Do you have to submit to something, or is something coming up and you have to prepare for it, for maybe your booth or your online presence? Are there any giveaways? Are there maybe special days coming up that you want to do, a post on? For example, we had a demo for our game, which is also still live. So whenever something like that comes up, you need to do a lot of planning, like all the texts for Steam and Discord and a Reddit post and whatnot. So a lot of drafting texts and producing content. Yeah, I think that's maybe the main part of my work. Yeah. And in between there, a little bit of influencer connection. So a lot of it is handled through our publisher, but sometimes just checking in what influencers might be interested in our game, which ones have already talked about our game, which ones talk about games that are similar to ours, and then foster connections by letting them know when a beat is coming up, or even just checking in like, hey, you played this and that and that, and maybe our game could be interesting to you. Can we send you a key when it comes out? So yeah, all of that jazz.
I'm
That's
just
great.
curious, Ines, did you ever look up if there's an International Sea Airplane Day that you could feature?
Let me note
Is there
that
such a
down.
thing?
I bet there is. I bet there is.
I
But
bet there is too.
like the beginning of this month, there was a draw a bird day or something, and so we had some concepts of the bird in our game lying around, and then just posted them. Not the most
Lovely.
meaningful of days, maybe, but a fun day. So yeah.
Amazing. I just jumped in, Judith, because we've got a full panel. We are very, very happy to welcome Lisa, dialing in from London, and there were some time zone shenanigans which we are all familiar with. But Lisa, so happy you could join us. We are currently in full discussion, but would love to hear a bit more about you. Could you introduce yourself? Like, what do you do? How did you get into the industry? And what are you working on right now?
Yes, first of all, really sorry. This is actually a thing that's very important in PR, is being aware of your time zones and being aware when they change.
No worries at all.
So yeah. So yeah, thanks so much for being cool, for setting up this panel, and I'm sure you've already discussed great things so far. So just quickly, yeah, going over just my role, and then you just let me know what else I can jump in on. But yes, my name's Lisa. I'm a senior communications manager with Echo Partners. We are a self-publishing agency. We started out with more of a PR focus, but basically what that means being self-publishing is we help indie developers of all sizes. So that goes from single-person developers or development studios, small indie studios, all the way up to what I guess you could call triple-I, which would be developers like Larian Studios, who are technically still independent, but obviously made quite a big splash with Baldur's Gate 3. And we help them on the marketing, for marketing pre-production, but also for obviously PR and marketing support, content creator collabs, anything that involves publishing, setting up your Steam page. We also have we're dabbling in merch and doing all this as well. So that's a little bit about me.
Lovely. Judith, I will pass it back to you now.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. We're very happy that you could join. And we're just gonna keep going. And the question that we last went over was what your typical workday looks like. And Eden's already kind of touched on a few things that perfectly flow into the next question, which is what are like the key elements of marketing in the games industry? For example, what is a question that you kind of ask yourself every day? What's something that you do every day? Eden's already talked about the tools she checks every day or like the social media she checks. So maybe we can go into that. And Lisa, if you want to, you can just start.
So I think the common answer to this is a typical day doesn't exist. Obviously, if you're working in PR and marketing, you need to be aware sort of also I'm just realizing my background is the wrong way around, so everything's going great. But there's no typical day, and you have to really be basically aware what's going on in the games industry. Like for example, for this week, we would definitely advise for our clients to maybe pause communications, not do as much, because I think as everybody's aware, Oblivion dropped, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is releasing today. So at least for the PR marketing front, it's very important for you to have an understanding and to be on social media, to see what is going on, when can you, yeah. When's the best time and place? The answer is there's never a good time or place. That's what we have a lot with picking launch dates and beat dates as well. So yeah, be aware and be in touch with what's going on in the games industry in terms of news. But yeah, in terms of a day, yeah, it really varies. I think that's the best best way to answer the question.
Yeah, that does make sense. Ines, you already said a few things about your daily doings and what you like, which tools you check every day, but is there like one specific question that you ask yourself every day or that you have to keep in mind regularly or just like a key element?
I think it's something that Shin already mentioned. It's what is the hook of your game? You know, since I'm really at the last bit of the marketing and doing the videos myself, as I keep mentioning all the time. Yeah, it's something you really shouldn't forget, you know? Like sometimes you start creating videos about all the cool features of your game, but you forget to ask yourself again, what's the hook of my game again? You know, because that's what you always want to have in mind and always want to show off and highlight. So yeah, I think for the hands-on marketing, that's a question you should definitely keep asking yourself.
Yeah. Shin, is there anything you want to add to that?
For me, I think the key elements could be like you have to know your game really well. So like it's kind of similar to the hook, the unique selling point, USP of your game really well. And you have to know your players, your audience really well. I think that's quite important especially for indie games, because we have like different genre and players who play different genres. They have like super different preference and aesthetics. So it's quite important to be aware. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you have to be passionate about your own product in a way, right? We've already kind of touched on this with Xin and Ines, but Lisa, since you just joined, I'm gonna come back to this question because I think it's interesting, especially in your context, because you have many different people that you work with in different companies. And that is like, when do you first get in touch with the teams or devs, especially in their process? Do you get in touch with them when they have an idea, when they have a prototype, or like, what's usually the timeline there?
Yeah, that really depends. Especially, like I said, we work with quite the variety of developers and publishers. For example, one of our clients is Finji, the people behind Tunic, or Chicoria Colorful Tale. So sometimes with them, obviously under NDA, we will know a couple of things in the pipeline. Similarly to Baldur's Gate 3 with Larry, and it's already public knowledge, so I'm not spilling any beans here, that there's new projects that are being worked on. So sometimes we will put on the pipeline quite early on, but also a lot of times it's on a need-to-know basis. But yeah, basically it really depends where you meet people. Obviously we try to get our leads at events like Gamescom. We try to scour anything like the indie arena booth at Gamescom or other events of the sort, and talk to people there. Sometimes people already have demos out for their game, so we come on quite late. That's usually a little bit of our bread and butter. So for the smaller indie clients, especially depending on their budgets, it kind of really makes sense to come on late for the sort of the launch cycle, as we call it. But sometimes we even help people from a very early stage with something called marketing pre-production, where we also help with even just finding the correct name for your title. Not even if there's only like a working title, we try to help with the whole branding around that. So that's quite an interesting exercise to do as well. How do you even want to talk about your game and market your game? How do you want to position it against competitors and stuff like that? So yeah, it really, again, I think my answer a lot of times is going to be, it depends. Yeah.
Yeah, well, every case is kind of individual, I guess. Ines and Xin, you already kind of touched on the topic on like when you get in touch with developers or what the process is there, but is there anything you still want to add, or?
I guess it's a no.
That's fine too.
Yeah, I mean, in our case, I'm there from the beginning, just because I work in the at the developer directly. But still, like the whole concepting phase is, in our case, relatively independent of me. But like our publisher is chiming in a bit just to, as Lisa mentioned, to find the right angle for your game. Yeah, and to basically find the niche in the market that you want to fill.
Yeah, that does
So
make sense.
yeah, because Eva Paris is a very different studio because it's a developer, but it's founded by a marketer. So our CEO is actually a marketer. So we have a very special culture that we encourage marketing people to be in the very first stage of the game development. And when we did that sales, we also did live ups for that sales, which means when it finished the 1.0, we kept updating it for like 5 years. So that's why it's super big. It's a game with a super big content in it now. We did 34 updates for the game. So when we did the updates, we actually did one special thing is we did A/B testing for the game, but on Steam, so players can actually play the game when it's in the A/B testing period. So during that A/B testing, we will also be with the dev team to collect the feedback and to discuss like what people don't like, what people like, what can we enhance with dev team. So I think it helps the game a lot, but the communication is still a problem for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa already dropped the big word budget when she answered, so that's kind of where we're going now. Our question is like, with what kind of budget can an indie developer start marketing or start their marketing journey these days? I don't know. I don't think there's a definitive answer. I'm excited to hear what you say. I don't know, Sin, maybe you want to start this time?
Yeah. Because it's the indie marketing is highly competitive now. Because I think last year there are almost 9,000 indie games published on Steam just in 2024. So now I definitely can't say, oh, you can just start it with €0. It's kind of like idealism, right? But in China, what people always do is they set up an account on Bilibili. It's a kind of Chinese YouTube. And they are like, oh, I am an indie dev. So they roll their development vlog every day to accumulate their first like potential players for the game. But it's not everyone success on this. Maybe 1 out of 10, it's useful for them. So for me, I think, but we have a colleague, ex-colleague, he's doing his own indie games now. And I think he didn't spend too much money because he's himself an artist. So he can do all the, marketing assets for himself and do TikTok. It's actually a quite important channel for him to gather the followers on TikTok, because TikTok mechanics is totally about algorithm. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about algorithm. Like if 9 out of 10 people like your video, then you can get more views in the pond. So I think for indie dev, if you have some necessary tech skills, your skill set can support you to do those marketing assets, and you know how to do the marketing. Maybe you don't need to spend a lot of money on it. But if you don't, find yourself a publisher or just hire someone or find a partners who can do the marketing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Ines, do you have any thoughts on the ideal, or not the ideal marketing budget, but like a good starting point, especially as an indie developer, or yeah, where could one start?
I think that, yeah, the most important budget you have, or the most important resource is your time. So saying that you can start with €0 is hard because your time is obviously also worth money. But you can still start with, €0 spent. And the day to start is now, So instead of like asking yourself, how can I acquire money? Just start doing your own thing as quickly as possible. I think that's important. Another thing is look out for opportunities. Like, for example, in our beautiful city of Hamburg, there is Gamecity, and Gamecity can, for example, send you to conventions, and conventions can be a cool place to find some creators, to find out like what hooks people about your game. And sometimes they even have a Steam event attached to it. That's always super useful. Go to the events that have a Steam event attached to it. And you can try to get there with, well, €0. Well, you still need to get there like physically, to the event, but to at least have your booth paid for. And then I think if you have like a little budget, this one's up for discussion. Maybe the others don't agree with me, but I think it's best spent on tools to use. So, for example, a tiny thing, but I'm spending like 11 euros a month or so on the CapCut Pro version, so I can have automatically generated subtitles and do nice voiceovers over my videos. You know, like that's budget that I think is worth it for me. Or maybe if you don't have so much time, think about having a good scheduling platform that you use for your social posts. So you can prepare everything in advance. You don't have to do it live. Or maybe spend a little bit of money on a way to find meaningful influencers or content creators for your game that you can then contact. And I think for all of these tools, there are versions that are relatively cheap. And I think if you have like a budget of, I don't know, 50 euros a month or so, I'd think about what tools can make my life easiest and not about should I pay or put 50 euro in ads. My thought, yeah.
Thank you. Lisa, is there anything you can add or want to add on the ideal, or not the ideal, but the starting budget for your marketing journey?
Yeah, I definitely want to agree that 0 is definitely idealistic, and also agreed that definitely agreeing with Ines on the organic creators point, because that's really something like you already said, you should start as soon as you can talk about your game. Start talking to people, start posting on social media about it. What we've seen be very helpful for people like Hooded Horse with Manor Lords. And also for us personally, for a project that we're working on, was a creator Discord, which is basically free. And like Ines said, this is something that only costs your time, so it's still an investment, but give people some incentive to come to that, for example. And then it's a great tool to actually build a little community of creators that then will be feel special through being in that Discord with you. And get some early insights maybe, but at the same time, it's going to be great organic relationships that you're going to build with these creators, and then they will hopefully later also create organic content for you. And like Ines said, there's a lot of great physical opportunities for you to present your game at conventions, but there's also a lot of great online showcases. Like for example, Triple I, which we probably talked about already. But there's also, yeah, there's lots of great showcases that are free. You just need to know how to find them. They're popping up more and more. Like Ines already said, the Steam events, you can always apply for them. They give a bit of visibility and will help acquire up some more wish lists. Even really high profile events like Future Game Show, they still always have editorial spots, and not just the, I don't know, 30,000 pounds or whatever it's going to cost to place your game in there. So that's a couple of free options. But also, yeah, we personally, for our projects, we've had some good successes with testing relatively small budgets for Reddit ads. Really depends on your game and where your audience lies. I think that's always important. You need to know what your audience is, and to where to put your money for your audience. So we've with the games that we work with, we've made some good experiences with Reddit ads. And a small budget is $500, so that really depends on the size of your game and your team, if that's small for you or bigger. But it's already quite worth it. And then just on some personal work I've done with creator collabs, we've done creator collabs, especially also with for smaller indie budgets that are like under $10,000, that have given us a lot of great impressions, like almost 1 million impressions. So it really depends. Yeah, you can start as with nothing, but again, you pay with your time, but you can really scale up a lot.
Thank you for the insights. Yeah, those are very, very good insights, though. Ines
Sorry,
said
can I
something. Oh,
say?
yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Because I think at first, I think for real indie devs, they should like know what's their purpose and what's their expectation on their game. Like if they just make a game for fun, then you don't need to do anything on it, you know. But if you are ambitious and you know nothing about marketing, maybe you should go for like Lisa, Echo Partners, this kind of self-publishing agency. That would work too. I'm not like making joke. It's just I think it's a when I listen to Lisa's speech, I think I think it could be a very down to earth suggestion. Like if you have like not like super high budget, but at least like 10K to spend, and you don't know how to spend, and you know nothing about marketing, and you have a relatively high expectation on your game, maybe it would be a very practical thing to do is to go for this kind of self-publishing agency. Yeah. Voilà.
Yeah, I guess it's always good to just keep in mind, even the things that you don't know yourself, other people will know, and there are resources out there. And even if you don't know what a good marketing budget for yourself is, someone else might be able to help you with that.
If I can add on that,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even need to hire people. Like a lot of people are happy to do pro bono, so always try to network. And there's Discords for just marketeers and PR people. You just need to look for those people on social media, and then you can always sort of absorb that knowledge from other people. There's a very prominent video games PR Discord for people in the UK. There's a whole Slack for game professionals in the UK as well. So if there's something similar where you are, that would be very helpful to absorb marketing knowledge.
Yeah, networking is key, I see. We have a question from the chat actually that kind of corresponds with this question that we were talking about. And Ines said something. She said, you know, your perfect day to start marketing is today or something like that. And someone in the chat asked, like, when would you recommend starting the active social media marketing process and gathering a community for your indie game? Like, at what point in the process, in the development process? Ines, maybe you want to start. Do you have a good call for that?
As I said, start today. No, but seriously, I think it depends a lot on how much you want to share and how much you want to allow your community to also step in. Like I know there's a lot of very small indie teams that are doing like community-driven development, who are taking their community with them from the very start, showing them all the stuff they are developing, all the new features, asking what people think of it, letting the community play test very early on and that stuff. And it sometimes works out very, very well. Like one game came out last year, Trova. They are very community driven and it has worked out tremendously for them. So like if you dare to do so, I'd say like, yeah, do it like that. If you are like honestly a programmer, go to all the places where programmers, where devs talk among themselves. Like for example, there's Reddit Game Dev and Reddit Indie Dev, where people also just ask about what do you think of this feature, or look what I developed, and yeah, where they are gaining a community through that. So like if you're open to do that, I'd say start as soon as you dare to. If you don't want to show everything about your game, if you want to keep it more close, then maybe it might make sense to start a little later and then have a very like close-knit campaign where you can show off all of the features in a relatively short amount of time before you release. But I think it's better to start early on, and then also it just helps because then you can get to know what the hook of your game actually is, because sometimes you think the hook is thing A, but people are more excited about thing B, and then you can find that out by just seeing the views on your TikTok videos, and then you can see, oh, maybe I should change my approach. If you want to set everything on like 3 months before release, then it's a risk. If you got the wrong hook, there might not be enough time to react. So yeah, I'd say start early. Especially as a very small indie, like if you have the big budget and if you can afford to go to all the big showcases, etc., then you can start later. But if you don't have that, yeah, then start early.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much. Sin, is there anything you wanna add? How do you feel about the perfect timing to start marketing?
Yep. I agree with Ines, like just start when you want to start. And I also I want to add one thing is because for indie devs, there's also a very important thing is to find a publisher, because a lot of people want to find a publisher. So there's a LinkedIn group called Indie Game Developers, and a lot of people, they just post their games regularly there, just to get the attention from publisher. So you have to figure out like what's your objective of communicating, because when we do PR we say to B, to C. So for you, you have the same you have to have the same mindset too. Like, so if so when I start this communication, it's to B, it's to publisher. I want to attract more publisher, or I want to attract more players. So it will affect your choice on platforms and your content.
Can I jump in with just a little thing? Yeah, also, yeah, I completely ignored the publisher thing, but of course, you usually want to find a publisher. They are a great help at marketing, etc. But for that, also start marketing early, because if you can go to them and if you can say, look, I already have 5,000 people on my, that's a high number, on my Discord server and so many wish lists because I already have a Steam page, I guess they are more likely to take up your game than when you go there and say, here's a game, but like I have nothing and I like have never spoken about my game and I don't even know how. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lisa, is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, so from the, I do agree with the start as early as you can, but be aware of the when you can. Because we've seen it in the past where people announce very early on and then development process just from outside factors. It could be COVID, because some games have been in development since pre-COVID, or other outside factors that you don't have any control over that can lead to very long development times. So in a time where there's so many releases and so many announcements all the time, there's more Steam releases every day than ever before at the moment. Just be aware when you can announce your game and when you want to start building your social media followings, and to direct attention to your game, because you kind of want to make sure that you're in the point with your game where you're comfortable and confident that you're gonna release in a time frame that you think makes sense and to build your community, but equally don't overstretch it too much. I think that's what I would add.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to do one very quick round of everyone just shoots a word, because I want to know what your favorite tool of your work is. And I'm talking about like actual practical tools. Like, what's your favorite, I don't know, platform or tool that you use? Maybe a recommendation for the people. Yeah, Sin, maybe you want to start.
Well, I think recently it's Power BI, but it's a data analysis tool. But I don't know how to use it. Our financial team, they input all the data in it, so I can have a very visualized data analysis on there. That's really powerful. And by the way, if you want to go into the game industry, maybe try to learn how to use Power BI. It will be a huge bonus for on your CV. Yeah. And then maybe when I was in the agency, I think the PowerPoint is quite important for me because it's a client face. It was a client face work. But now, except for Power BI, Excel would be more practical for me.
Yeah, don't underestimate the power of PowerPoint, I guess. Lisa, what's your favorite tool that you use?
I have two. One's for PR, one's for press, one's for creators. For PR, this might be an obvious one, but it's yet another mail merge. So it's YAMM. Might be obvious, but it saved my life ever since we discovered it, because it automatically sends you create a spreadsheet, you have put all your emails in there, all your leads of the journalists you need to talk to or creators, and then you automatically send them the email, and then it shows you if they've opened it, if they've responded, and all that, because yeah, on a weekly basis, between the team and I, we send probably 10,000 emails. I don't know. It's a lot because we need to cover global creators press. From the creator side, it's a website called Sully Gnome because yeah, the others are aware. Because it's a great tool to find out creators. So yeah, it's Sully SULLYGNOME. It's a great way to find creators, especially on Twitch, and to maybe research if you're marketing a specific game, you can find competitor games and then see who streams those competitor games, and then maybe on this base your outreach to those people to get in touch with and hopefully stream your game as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Ines, what's your favorite tool?
Yeah, I mentioned it before. It's like for the actual video production. It's the one I use every day. It's CapCut. It's actually somehow connected to TikTok, and you can post directly to TikTok. I've never used that function, but maybe that even gives another boost. But it's very handy, and it has a desktop app and a mobile app. But mostly I produce the videos by cutting them first in DaVinci Resolve, which is just a free video editor. My second favorite, like we also do devlogs, I do them completely in DaVinci Resolve, and then CapCut for the fine-tuning and doing voiceover on my phone. Yeah, but also agree with Sully Gnome, or basically, yeah, any good tool you can have that makes it easier to find the right creators for your game without like manually browsing through the platforms, which no one does anymore, I hope.
No more manually browsing for us.
Sorry, I want
Okay.
to add one thing. Like, if you use CapCut to post on TikTok, that will help to boost your views because they are from the same company, so they have a kind of mechanics and the algorithm thing after
Yeah.
behind them. Yeah, so try
I
it.
should do that.
Yeah,
I will try
you
that.
should do that. Yes.
And if I can add, I think it's the opposite for Instagram. I think Instagram likely shadow bans you because they like you to use their in-app cutting system. But yeah.
That does make sense, and that's probably very good tips though. We're gonna come to our last question of this section, and then we're gonna start about career starters in marketing management. But yeah, this is one of my favorite questions. I've been waiting for this one. What was your most unusual or surprising task in marketing you've had so far? Lisa, maybe you want to start.
Most surprising task. I've been trying to think about this one. Let me think about that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's fine. Ines, do you want to take over for a second?
I don't think I have one task. I have more one project that I found unusual. We worked together with the also Hamburg-based studio Tivola for a while when I was at Off the Beaten Track. And I did community management for a game called, what was it called again? Wild Shade? Yeah. It was a horse race. It was basically Mario Kart with horses, mobile. And that was very fun. There was an existing community already that I then got to manage, and it was all those horse girls and horse enthusiasts. And that was very special and also way cooler than I expected because those people are like really into the details, you know? And then I learned all the different kinds of horse colors that I never knew about before that people wanted us to implement into the game. And then, will you have Palomino horses in there? And I'm like, will we have Palomino horses in there? Let me Google what it is first. And then I asked the team. Yeah, so I got to know a little bit more about horses then, but it was actually really cool because, you know, whenever you post something new about their game, they have emotions about it. They either find it really, really cool or hate it absolutely. That was amazing. Horse games. Cool niche.
Get into horse games today. Sin, what was your like most unusual or surprising task you've ever had?
I think it would be like I negotiate a publishing deal for the company because at first I was just the free staff. I went to China and I wanted to expand the new publishing rights face to the Chinese staff. So I got one potential client. And because that client is, don't speak really good English, and he can only speak Chinese, so I've become the person who negotiate the final contract and agreement with him. So, because when I was like 10 years old, every time I watch TV shows, you know, there's always like very strong woman image in that kind of TV shows. And I was like, how could I become like that in future, like, you know, and after we signed the contract, and it reminds me of when I was 10 years old, and I was like, oh, so I am now that kind of woman now. So yeah, that's very surprising, and I hope it can encourage someone. Yeah.
That's great. You had your little mom, I am a rich man moment. Yeah, Lisa, is there anything you
Yes, I
could?
could actually. I now thought about a similar thing, and I want to stress that my job 99% of the time is sitting at home in front of my PC doing spreadsheets and emails. But this one time, for Baldur's Gate 3, actually, we were doing the announcement of them dropping the Xbox version at the Game Awards 2023, which means that happens in the US at their evening time. So in Europe, it's going to be in the middle of the night. So it was 4 a.m. I pressed the go for the press release. And then previously, a couple of weeks prior, we had planned a video shoot in Los Angeles as well with them. And so a couple of days before the Game Awards, they were saying, Lisa, you should come and oversee the video shoot with us in LA. So on Game Awards night at 4 a.m., I pressed the go for the press release about the Xbox version. And I think 6 hours later, I was in a plane on my way to LA, which was the most insane night I ever had in my job. And then we worked with talent, and it was all a bit mind-blowing. But yeah, that was a very unusual task to be very sleep deprived and basically be in LA for 48 hours. And but yeah, definitely not that exciting all the time. It's mostly just emails and spreadsheets otherwise.
It's exactly like in the TV show when we watched as a little girl, you know, like be a like flight woman, you know, be a woman on the flight all
Jet
the time.
setter. Yeah.
Yes, it's all jet set and specialties every day. I love it. That is a very good story. Yeah, and with that, we're gonna move over to our career starter questions because we have a bunch of people here who are trying to start out their careers in marketing management for games. So we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna give it over to Helen.
Yes, thank you so much. That was so fascinating. But after all, we're still here at Game Starter for career starters, and I think a lot of other interested parties in the chat, though. Shout out to the chat in general. There's like a lot of questions incoming, and I just want you to know we're not forgetting about them. We have definitely set some time to the side at the end. But yeah, two people actually are asking the same question, kind of. That is, what formal education does a marketing manager actually need, in your opinion? Maybe you could also tell us a bit about like how your educational background plays into what you're doing now, because we've got two people, they're studying game design and art design, and they're wondering about maybe going into marketing, and wondering should they study that, or can they make the shift somewhat naturally? Like, how did it happen for you? What would be your recommendation? Lisa, maybe you can start us off.
Yeah, just quickly for my background, I'm the typical case of I stumbled into this career a little bit. I was studying movie and theater studies, actually, and then became a journalist, and then sort of stumbled into a junior PR role. And essentially, what landed me my job was basically just them needing a native German speaker. But I think the most important skills is so while it is definitely helpful for my role and for similar roles to have an understanding of how marketing works, have a good understanding of social media, how that works. You need to sort of wear a lot of different hats. I think most importantly is just need to be good at writing. You're going to do a lot of writing. You need to be good with people, good with your own time management. That's something that anybody can learn, basically. You're gonna have to do a lot of context switching in this job because especially me, I have a lot of different clients all the time, so no day will look the same. So manage your own time in a good way. Be good at writing. I think especially in times of ChatGPT and a lot of AI assisted text. I think it's good to have those skills and to not lose those skills. So yeah, I think that's my 2 cents.
Perfect, thank you. And yeah, I think stumbling into it, as you called it, I think that's a very common way into the industry in general, as I've learned from these Game Starter events, but marketing especially. Or is it not? Xin, how about you? How did you?
Yeah, I started in international trade for my bachelor. And for my master, I studied in creative business, which is a little bit connect with the gaming industry, I guess, but it's more like a management master. So for me, I didn't really study any marketing related major before. And I think marketing more requires people to have a kind of insight and instinct, like how deep you know about your product, how deep you know about your community, how deep you know about your players. That's the most important thing. And I think for if we have like designer here and artists here, I think their techniques would be a huge bonus if they want to do marketing. Because we always want some people who can do our marketing assets in a marketing department, and we always want someone who understand the game, be in the marketing team. That's really important. So I don't think they really need to go to some sort of school to study. It's more like you have to accumulate knowledge in your daily life. Like you go to Reddit every day, you go to Discord every day, you play the game every day. And for me, I also read the Steam reviews every day, like bad reviews, good reviews, to know what's the preference of the players. So it's more like how do you manage your daily life to cultivate yourself.
Yeah, thank you for these encouraging words to our audience. Maybe those two will be the next big marketing stars. Fingers crossed for you. Ines, how about you? What kind of formal education would you say someone in marketing needs, or how did it go for you? You told us that you started out as a working student. What did you study?
I studied sociology and political science, so also nothing marketing related. But I was lucky enough to, at some point, nudge my sociology studies into the games direction and did my master's thesis on gender in games. But what I did apart from that is, so yeah, as I said, a lot of stumbling, because for a long time I didn't realize that, there are jobs in games that are not just programming and art. I didn't think about the whole business side. And then I worked at the Nintendo booth at Gamescom, just through an agency, because a friend told me about it. And I landed at the indie subsection at the Nintendo booth and met some developers and talked to them. And then I noticed, well, marketing games is actually a thing. And I think talking to those people there helped me a lot. And in general, networking, again, is key. Like I got my first job because I went to a game dev meetup and talked to the people there and talked about and asked, like, what else is there in games that you could do? And then my previous boss actually wrote me a message on Twitter asking, hey, do you want to join my company? So yeah, I was lucky I didn't even have to apply. But also, I think there are still some volunteering options. I know that volunteering at DevCom was a thing. I think it's not anymore or something, but you can, for example, volunteer at the Indie Arena booth at Gamescom. And that's great to, get to know people, get to know more about their jobs, but also, yeah, just have a connection to them. And then, you can at some point ask whether they are looking for a person in marketing, community management, etc. And I think one more thing, except for as the others said, yeah, checking social media, etc., and being aware of the games that are coming out, is looking at some good talks. Like in my beginning phase, I looked at some really cool talks from the GDC Vault. You can just, I mean, if you type into Google GDC Vault marketing, you could find some really great talks that cover the basics. I just want to mention two that I looked up before because I remember them from back then. One is Marketing on Zero Budget by Mike Rose. It's a few years older, but it's a really great talk. And by Thomas Reisenegger, No One Cares About Your Game. It's a really great talk about, like presenting the hook of a game again and again. And I think watching some of these talks can really give you a good understanding of what games marketing involves.
Amazing. Thank you also for those two tips. I'm sure you can find those links in the chat in a moment, or also we will link them tomorrow on our social media. Also, shout out, you said the Indie Arena booth volunteering opportunity that is open until the 27th. So you've got 3 more days to apply for that. And yeah, maybe we'll see you. We're going to have a booth and we'd love to meet some of you there. I'm just going to throw one last question from Judith and my side in here, and then we're going to just look at the chat. And that last question is actually, how do you apply to work in marketing? Like, do you submit a portfolio? How does the application process usually look like? And Ines, we kind of heard a bit about your process already, so I'm going to ask Lisa first. What did your last application process look like?
Again, I have to be a bit of a party pooper. I got headhunted. I got really lucky, and I got found on LinkedIn. But I would assume otherwise the application process is there's not really portfolios. Again, it's a lot about networking, about also just like showing up that you have an excitement for games, an excitement for marketing processes, that you are sort of just convince people when you talk to them about that you have a knowledge and a passion for this avenue of working in games, that you're aware of trends and picking up on these sort of things. So yeah, I would say.
All right. And Xin, how did your last application process look like? Did you have to submit something special, work a case study or something?
Yeah, I actually struggled a lot to find the job after I graduated because I'm a foreigner. I don't have a visa and I don't speak French very good. So it's really hard for me to find a job in France. So how did I find this job is after LinkedIn, after everything, I just Google, I search hiring video game studio, maybe Asian market, Chinese market, because I'm good at it. And I found this job. It's quite, when I think about it, I was like, it's really like, it's a bit insane. Like you just Google it. But I think, because in France, there's a very special association. They got a website and you can find all the video game studio job hunting information on that website. So I'm not sure if it's the same for Gamecity. I'm not sure if you have this kind of column on your website, but in France, it's in this case. So basically, except for networking thing we have to do, I think LinkedIn is quite useless in this case if you want to join an indie game studio, because most of indie game studio don't have money to post job description on LinkedIn. So just find the right channel to get the information. It's really important. And by the way, the French website is called afjv.com, and you can literally find every video game studio who is hiring at this moment, for this moment. Yeah. And go to some physical event. There's always like the booth, hiring booth there. Yeah.
So to chime in, we do have a German version, games-career.com for, I think, for German speakers.
And
Yes.
yeah, I have a small addition. Yeah, so my last application at Taniwa was actually an initiative application. So yeah, that's also a possibility. Just write to all the studios and publishers if that's also an option for you. And I also applied at a bigger studio who actually had an open position. And that was, I was a bit overwhelmed because they had this multi-step, super corporate way of application talks. I didn't get the job. As I said, I was overwhelmed. But then I got the job at Taniwar, and it was a very chill talk I had with my bosses. And I think the most important thing to them was yeah, feeling that I understand the games and what the company stands for, because in marketing, you're responsible for, yeah, showing what the company is to the outside, representing the company. So definitely research the games that the company you're applying to is making, and make sure that you like them because you don't want to be stuck representing games that you don't understand or you don't vibe with. And yeah, just make sure you understand the games and what the company wants and stands for. I think that's most important.
Cool, thank you. Also very interesting to hear all of your experiences, because weird to give insight from my side, but I actually had several applications processes where I had to do a full case study and like present work to them. So that's definitely in marketing also something. And I think we can also say that's something, if you apply for Gamecity, that's also something you'll have to do. But apparently we're very strict people here. All right, so let's use these last couple of minutes to dive into the chat questions. Please don't be surprised, I'm only going to ask one person to answer these questions since we're a bit short on time now. First up, a question for Sin. Do you have any tips on getting into the Chinese market as an indie team from Germany, like the other way around?
Okay, just go to Bilibili, have your account there. But it's a bit complicated. Because everything is so complicated in China. Like I didn't realize that. I realized that when I'm in Europe, for internet. Because when you do Bilibili account, you have to use your phone number, and because we have that kind of official account certification, you have to use your business certificate, and it should be translated in Chinese. So if you don't need official account certification, you don't need that. But the sign up is all right, but be careful, like the Bilibili, they have a global version and they have a Chinese version, and it's not connected. So you have to go to the right side. And for the Chinese version, everything is in Chinese. So just use your Google browser translation all the time. And if you want to do live streaming, you have to certificate your account with a Chinese ID. So basically, it's impossible for most of like foreign companies to do that. Yeah, but at least you can have an account there and to talk to people there. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I think that's already an important tip. And also to whoever asked that question, I'm happy to spoil you. We will actually have a panel or a talk, an online event on that exact topic. I think May or June, something like that. So keep your eyes on our channels. Next up, Lisa, maybe you can tell us a bit about a very complicated question, I think. Someone asked their game design student, and they're asking for recommendations on how to spark interest when someone is writing a business email or like outreaching to, I think, for example, when you're out doing some outreach to a streamer or something. Do you have some special trick up your sleeve how to catch their interest?
It's very difficult because, like I said, it's especially now is a very busy time. It's always a busy time. Journalists are very busy. There's so many games being released all the time. I think most importantly, when you draft something to outreach somebody, think about the pyramid. So you want to start with your content pyramid. So the most important thing, put it on top. Uh, and the way you actually the most important thing is your subject in your email. that's where you start basically. So most important information right at the beginning, because people get so many emails nowadays in games journalism and creators as well. So really try to go for the pyramid scheme, not this pyramid scheme, the correct pyramid scheme. So most important information on top, and then sort of move your way down and keep it as short as possible. That's what we always try to hammer home. So have all your links ready, just do good formatting. Yeah, be a bit pedantic about good formatting. Have your Steam page ready or whatever where your game is. Have your social links ready. Also be a trustworthy email. So hopefully, you have your own company email. That can also be found on your website. Otherwise, a lot of times people are unfortunately come under the spam hammer, as we've seen. So I don't message people too often as well. So if you do maybe one follow-up if people don't reply to you, maybe after a week. But yeah, I think most important information right at the beginning as early as you can, and then also as short as possible. Yes, hopefully that was helpful.
I think so. Also, just great email writing tip in general. Keep it short. Okay, Ines, do you think going viral on TikTok or Instagram Reels is a legitimate marketing strategies for indies?
Going viral is not a strategy. It's a happy accident. Like, it's super cool. I don't know if everyone knows about the game about digging a hole that recently went viral with their 5 million views video on TikTok, and there are actually articles out there just about that video. I don't know. I haven't managed to go viral yet. So I'd say a strategy is, sustaining your posts, posting regularly, seeing like what videos have more views, how could you adjust them. Also on TikTok, for example, you can see for how long, you can see the analytics, like how long did people watch your video, what was the point where they left the video. So try to improve your videos step by step. But like, if you know how to go viral on TikTok, let me know, because I don't know that yet. Yeah, sadly not a strategy. But yeah, if you go viral on TikTok, that will be cool. That's cool for you. That might generate a lot of wish lists potentially. But yeah, it's not a strategy.
One
Yeah.
strategy I can add from Larian is have a bear have intercourse with a vampire. That will get you viral for sure.
That is actually how I first learned of the game and thought, oh yeah, okay, that's different than what I expected. I'm gonna look into that. All right, this question, I'm not sure who of you can answer it, so just jump in if you can. Someone who's working for a big gaming company, for a publisher, and they want to know, they want to be closer to the production of the game itself, so they're looking for a chance to shift from this bigger company to the indie side. Do you have any suggestions for that? And what's the biggest difference between like an indie marketing and like a big studio marketing? I don't know, Lisa, do you maybe have experience with that a bit?
I would say when you dial it back, there's not too many differences. You still need to do all the same avenues. Really, the only change that there is probably the change in budget. So I think it's a lot of the stuff we touched on before. So if you go to a more indie publisher approach, just know your audience very well, know your niche very well, do a lot of competitor research. That's what we try to do if we have a specific, like a roguelite type of game. We look at a lot of those same type of games, see what those studios have done, and sort of base our strategy on that. So it's really about being aware of your competition, and using that to your advantage, and absorbing strategies. Hopefully, I don't know if that's answered the question entirely.
I think for sure. Also, since you started out at Tencent and now you're at an indie publisher, do you maybe have some insight on that?
Yeah. I'm in a developer. I'm a developer, not indie publisher. I have never been working in an indie publisher before. So I'm not sure about how publisher, how's their like communication and connection with the developers. But as me in the marketing development, marketing department in the indie developers, I think we want people to be versatile because we only have 3 people in the marketing team. And we are doing like, when we are super busy, we're doing 3 to 5 projects together. So we need people who can do everything, you know, because for us, we do everything. Or you are super good at something that we don't have. For example, we want someone who can do data analysis, or, you know, like you're super good at one thing. But it also depends on luck, like what kind of skill this studio is lacking. If you are just the right fit for this skill, then you will easily get into this studio. Yeah, that's pretty much.
All right, thank you. I think those were some very insightful tips already. With this, we are done with questions from the chat, and we are about to close out the panel. But this brings us to our last question. That is there anything on your end you would like the public to know about? Anything you want to plug, you're working on, that people should look into? Ines, maybe you want to start us off.
Yes, I already mentioned it, but gonna mention it again. Yeah, so we're working on Loose Lagoon right now, releasing this summer, and right now we're having a Kickstarter campaign. So we will definitely bring out the game, but we're having a Kickstarter campaign to allow us to bring some more features to the game that otherwise wouldn't be possible. Like, for example, we already hit our first funding goal, so there will be an additional island. Loose Lagoon is a seaplane delivery service game, so you actually fly around from island to island and help people and deliver packages. And we will bring another additional island to the game, and now we are working towards our next stretch goal, which is going to be a photo mode, allowing you to highlight all the beautiful details of the game, and also, yeah, maybe attaching some quests to it, like people would like to see a picture of this area, or give them a picture of their daughter who lives on another island, stuff like that. So that's what we're working towards. So yeah, check out our Kickstarter campaign, and maybe if it's for you, we have some nice backer tiers that also, yeah, give out some Kickstarter specials that won't be available afterwards anymore.
Cool. Yeah, I think Kickstarter, a whole marketing topic in itself, for another panel for sure. Xin, how about you? Anything you'd like to plug?
So just we are actively working on the early access of the Rogue Prince of Persia. So if you are 2D roguelike action game players, please go try it. It's cool. It's a parkour roguelike. It's quite different. And also we are also working on a Chinese indie hit called Blaze Blue Entropy Effect. It's also a 2D roguelike action games, but rooted in a fighting game combat design, which is super cool too. Please go play it. And there will be the 3rd edition of the Triple I initiative maybe next year, so don't forget to watch it next year.
Amazing.
Thank
and if
you.
you haven't watched the last one, of course, check
Oh,
that
yeah.
out too. It
Yeah.
was very good, and there were Hamburg-based games in there. So, all right. And last but not least, Lisa, how about you?
I think there's too many projects to name, since as an agency we work on, I think it's over 20 at the moment, just ongoing in all different stages. So just look at, like, you see our company name, Echo Partners, just look us up on socials. We're mostly active on Blue Sky. Otherwise, Darren just released patch 8 for Baldur's Gate, so go play that. It's very good. It has photo mode, it has crossplay. It's a good time. And then just for any students that are interested in maybe working with us, we have a internship program. So if that would be something you'd be interested in, we're always happy to talk to you for any sort of length internship. And they're completely remote. So we started them locally with people here in the UK, but we recently had someone from Germany. So yeah, we're always happy for interns. So come join us and see how self-publishing works.
What an amazing opportunity. Wow, a remote internship. That's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. Also, thank you for sharing your expertise, for providing us such valuable insights. I think we all learned a lot. And also, thank you to the chat and the audience who provided so many interesting questions. I had a great time. I hope you had too. And hopefully, we'll see you all again watching right now at the next Game Starter or another event or panel or whatever else Gamecity has to offer, or the Indie Treff, who knows. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here with us, and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.